Good afternoon, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, everybody on the high dais. I'm very excited, very pleased to see all of you attend this function again. And just reminding myself, last year we celebrated the 20th version of this function that we hold every year. Last year also was very special. We celebrated 50 years of the company. And looking at Mama Churi, I celebrated also a very remarkable milestone, but I won't say my age. It was Karibu 45 or something, but I feel 45 anyways. So I think all of you have heard a lot of accolades that East African Seed has achieved. There's been a lot of, obviously, in the last 2 years, changes that have made us rethink of who we are, where we're going, and how we want to see, I think, very, very quickly in the next 5 years, our aspirations to be achieved. As you all know, farming has never been easy. We've heard Mama Judy explain to us very clearly. I think that's the most important thing. We've heard the hardships that the farmers go through, and it's not an easy task. Without a farmer, we have no food. I think we've heard a lot domestic issues and what the company is doing. Just bring light a little bit of the macro issues that are happening out there. And with this war lingering, it's continuing and nobody knows where the end is, it makes matters a whole lot worse. The two most important things we all are looking or being aware of is the inflation. I think this country is going to go through a lot of high costs in retail goods, and we will continuously see our pockets being squeezed. The other thing, I think just as of yesterday, the Forex, the foreign exchange, is very, very scarce. And that becomes very scary as well. I remember back in '92, we had the similar situation, and trying to actually convince the suppliers to keep on supplying because, we kept our word in making sure the payments are made, which was very difficult at that time. And looking at how the rain pattern, the weather is changing. We hear, Uganda is raining right now, and let's hope we see some of that rain coming our way. We really need to change the way in which we approach our work. The way we actually do things has to be completely fresh, a completely new way of doing things. And that's what I think at EASeed we believe in changing a lot of these things. We continuously debate, we challenge ourselves. We brainstorm, we innovate, and it's very, very exciting. And coming back to the youth, yes, it's good to be seeing yourself on top of the mountain, wherever that may be, but it's always very joyful and happiness climbing to that top bit. So be patient, enjoy the journey, obviously, and you will get there, you will get there. In terms of just now looking, I think next 5 years, and we see all these exciting topics coming up. Yes, renewable energy, to what extent that may be converting, our economy here. It's churning, it's turning, but I think the focus, and that's the main word today, the focus should be driven with costs coming down. I think costs are just going through the roof. And if the cost of production is not watched, we will not have any food pretty much. We'll be importing everything, and even that's not specific to our nutrition and our health. So we are used to ugali, and we need to fill our stomach properly. That's the main thing. So for us, we are looking at how to introduce these various drought-tolerant genes, or whether it may be higher yield genes, into our maize right now. And so that may be ready in a couple of years, 2-3 years, but that's high investment again. It costs pretty much, I think, to introduce gene in one hybrid about $7,000-8,000. So it's not a cheap way of accessing these new resources. Apart from biotechnology, as you all know, Africa, and this sometimes you hear, but it doesn't really translate on the ground. The whole of Africa has been converted to the largest free trade area, and we can access any country, any goods, sort of to bring in the goods, and hopefully we will have these duty-free goods coming in, from a lot of these cheap processing countries. So that may be an angle that might help a lot of the traders here. We have a lot of the field crops that we are changing. We're adapting hybrids. We're developing some drought tolerant. Again, you heard about the beans, you heard about the maize, but we're also developing some sunflower. We've got sorghums that we are dealing with. So we're excited about a product or the package of product that we are trying to develop for your market, which may be in East Africa, or for the specific area that you grow in. So climate smart crops will be the way to go forward. And some of you heard, and we talked about vegetables being in shortage. And the other day, we were talking to some people from Manchester in UK, and they couldn't find tomatoes in the market. Where is this world really ending up? If tomatoes cannot be found in UK, people are the vegetable end of the market, or the growing of the market, is becoming very constrictive. Importation is also being very restrictive in a lot of areas because of all the different regulations. And we've been fighting with CAFIS for many years that it becomes commercial unviable if you continuously maintain certain level of restrictions, because trade across borders become very difficult. As it is, production in Kenya is at a very high cost level. So you source, either producing from Zambia or something, and we're looking at Tanzania as being our center of production, which sometimes makes sense, but you want to stick to obviously your local home, and you want to make that a production center, and that's what we are working on most of the time with Rogers. And that's why he's been placed in Tanzania, to then extend our production base for maize especially. Because maize, we project that in the next 2 to 3 years at least 5,000 tons. So we hope to share some market share in maize, because, as he said, CAFIS is already testing most of our maize and using that as a standard, which is a very positive thing. As much as we hear about other companies called Seedco or even Monsanto, we still drive what is required for the market. I think that's the most important thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I very, very pleased again to reward our top customers. I think that's a tradition that we've set in the company, and we are always very pleased to work with you, with the farmers at large. We extend all the way up to probably 2 million, 3 million farmers in the Horn of Africa, plus also the sub-Saharan part of Africa right now. So we've talked of China, we've talked of Russia, but now I think it's time for Africa as well. So those US days and whatnot, really, they're done for those guys. It's Africa to come up as well. And we are way behind. I wouldn't say we can, reach that sort of level of economy that China and Russia have commanded, but we've got time as well. But we have got very, very interesting workforce. We have brains. We have the right attitude towards all this, and we are hungry. That's the most important thing. We are hungry to reach a certain level of where we can also have this economic power, and we can share with the world our innovations. Thank you.